Happy Saturday. Happy Sunday. Surprise, I'm going live. As you can see by the title, today we'll be talking about how you can use AI to get your first job in dermatology. If you're new here, welcome. I'm Dr. Kimberly Madison, a doctorally prepared nurse practitioner, and I come on every weekend, Sundays, in this Nurse Entrepreneur series that I've been doing for over a year now, taking you in as someone who's an entrepreneur who specializes in dermatology, nursing education, and research, and who is a budding entrepreneur. I take you along that journey, share any tips and resources that I have, advice, and I welcome you to be part of the community. For the last month, I've been doing batch content, and so I come on, at one time, like I am today. I'm going to film 3 episodes, and I've typically been hiding those episodes, and then I make them live on Sundays. But I used to go live every Sunday with you, and I missed that. And I thought, you know what? While I'm doing the batch content, why don't I just keep it open to the public? And if you happen to be subscribed and you've hit the notification bell, then you'll get a notification when I go live, and you can come in the comments and participate with me and join this conversation. So if you haven't already, I invite you to subscribe, hit the bell so that you will receive a notification when I go live every weekend. These episodes are me answering your questions. Like I said, they did start off with me sharing my journey, but so many of you have been so gracious enough to bring me in on your journey, and you have lots of questions. And we all know that when you have one question, there's at least 20 other people who have the same question. And so I just thought it'd be best if we just come here and I just share that information. Each week is basically me answering your questions and then continue to bring you along the journey as I'm going through it. So we will get into our topic. One thing we do every week, because this is an ongoing conversation, is we do health and wellness. Because I'm of the belief that if you are in the business of taking care of other people, then you have to take care of yourself. And someone is here, and that includes your physical body, mental, spiritual, financial, which we're going to get into. Actually, let me make a note so I don't forget to talk about that. As I've been hinting the last few weeks that we would start talking more about financial health in the new year, and that time has arrived. So I usually give you an update. So we start at the top of the episode on my updates in a way to encourage you to do the same thing. Put it on your calendar, make it a priority. That's the whole reason we do it. And then we get into our topic. So as far as my health and wellness goes, and I'm just pulling up our devotional, because we always start with a devotional. So let's see. So I've decided I'm going to be going home in March. And so I've decided it might just be easier to do my mammogram then. I looked up another place to try to get it done here in Texas. And as I mentioned before, they make it a little bit difficult if your doctor isn't in state, doesn't have privileges here. And so I might try one more place. And if I get come across the same. So the second place I found, so the first place, if you don't know, when I went there, they said I couldn't be seen because my doctor isn't licensed here in Texas. And so that was just a no across the board. The second place, it was okay that my doctor wasn't licensed here. They were going to assign me a doctor, but I don't like that. So I might try one more time, but the plan right now is just get it done when I go home. And so that'll be that. And then I looked at my old results, and on the podcast, we've talked a few times that if you have a mammogram and it shows that you have dense breast tissue, then they're supposed to tell you. And from then on, you should always have a 3D imaging. And so I think for the most part, I always look, because it's there's a little bit of anxiety because my mom had breast cancer. I did have genetic testing, and it said it was negative, and hers wasn't considered to be genetic component, but still want to be on the side of caution. Anyway, so there's still a bit of anxiety, not getting it done, but waiting for the results. And so I don't think I ever paid attention to the results before, or maybe it was because my mom actually was invited to participate in a webinar in the fall where they were talking about this new bill that passed about letting women know if they have dense breast tissue and then what to do about that. And so I went back and looked at my results from the last mammogram I had, and it said I had just dense breast tissue, which I didn't remember reading, but certainly it was more, I noticed it now that I know how important it is. So anyway, I'll take care of that soon. And then I did look up a mental health provider. And so through my insurance, it asks you some different questions. And there's a bunch of different ways you could find a provider. And I might go to the APA because I went through my insurance this time. But anyway, I wanted to know if I had a preference for gender, race, age. There might have been some other questions, but those were the three that really made me think. I had already told you that I'm interested in having a male provider. All my other providers are female by choice. But this one I want to talk to a male provider. And then I really had to think about the age one. I'm a little bit concerned if I pick older, that I might be, that might be like a bias, and setting myself up for, someone who's going to have like a similar perspective. I mean, assuming that. So I'm not sure if I'm going to make a preference, and I'll just maybe just let it be open. And then race was an option. So I did make some progress, but I haven't completely scheduled the appointment. But today I'm filming 3 episodes, so the next 2 episodes there still won't be an update on that. But within a month, hopefully the next time I come back on, I should have an update for you. With the dentist, when I go home, I'll do that one. That's easy. When I already have a provider, it's very easy to just keep going. It's when I have to establish a new one. I have made no progress on the women's health one. And then finances. So I just started reading a new book, an audio book called You Deserve to Be Rich by Troy Mullings and Rashad Bilal. They are the host of Earn Your Leisure, which is a financial literacy platform, media company. I've talked about them many times. They're the blueprint for the Mel Initiative podcast. Anyway, they've been doing content I followed them since 2020, and I think they were in the schools about 2015, 2016, a long time. So now they're just taking all that content and putting it into a highly requested book. I am also super happy because even though I've watched them every single week for the last 5 years, it's a lot of content. And so when you're out here making your own business and sharing information, you could say, "Oh, you're giving it away." Why would anybody buy anything if you're telling it to them for free? Because it's a lot of information. And yes, some people will go and watch hundreds of your videos, take notes, and act on it. But most other people just want you to give it to them nice and succinctly, and it just makes it feel less overwhelming. And it makes it easier when you have something to look up that you just go to that one place. And so don't let that stop you from sharing information that's really valuable because of a scarcity mindset that, oh, they won't then purchase my products, because that's not true. They still will purchase your products. I'm proof of that. Many of you have purchased things after you see that, oh, look how knowledgeable someone is with this free video content that they're sharing. Then it gives people, it increases their know, like, trust factor. When people get a chance to know, like, and trust you, then they're that much more likely to be one of your clients. And so I started reading it, and then I will be sharing that throughout these videos, as well as what I'm doing for my own finances personally, and then for the business. And so there's an update for that one. I have some other books to review. So we will be getting into emotional intelligence this week. Dr. Farah Laurent, who I recently told you about because she has her Nurses Making Money Moves conference on March 8th, Saturday in Tampa, Florida. It's her first conference. She's known as the Badass Career Coach. She's on LinkedIn all the time. She's a LinkedIn top voice. Background is emergency medicine, entrepreneurship, business, and education. And so she came on the podcast this week. We talked about loneliness and emotional intelligence. After I saw Oprah had made a video about loneliness on New Year's Day. And within the first 5 hours, it had like almost 10,000 views. And I just thought it really interesting on a day known to be celebratory, that so many people would be attracted to a video about loneliness. And it just goes to show you that despite the conveniences of modern society, and all these things that de-incentivize needing to leave your home, needing to go out and interact with people, that in fact that might be exactly what people are looking for, a sense of community. And so on the business side of that, you see a video like that, it's getting a lot of views from someone who's well known. There's another lady who I've talked about, Rachel Rogers. She's another attorney turned entrepreneur, and she was supposed to have her own conference in California that had to be postponed because of the fires. She posted a video on loneliness, and I just think, what a coincidence that she posted a video on the same topic, because if you don't know, the algorithm, particularly the YouTube algorithm, works that if you have to teach the algorithm how to associate your videos and your target audience. So let's say, for example, Rachel Rogers. Let's not use Rachel. Let's use Fatima Francesca. She's another nurse practitioner, entrepreneur in the wellness space. Every time I say her name, if I say one of the names of title of her video, it tells the algorithm, oh, you talk to the same people she talks to. And the reason you mention her is because she's more popular. She has a larger following. She's already in the algorithm. And then it's better to mention a newer video than an older one. So when you do that kind of thing, it helps increase your own SEO. So when I saw Rachel did that, and it's better for me to say Fatima than it is to say Rachel, because even though I'm speaking to entrepreneurs, she's speaking to a wide range of entrepreneurs, right? And I think BIPOC females, I think. Whereas Fatima, more niche, right? Entrepreneur nurses and Ps. So it's better for me to align myself with someone like that than Rachel. It doesn't hurt to mention Rachel or Oprah, but by and large, you want to get as close to the target as you can. So when I saw Rachel did that, I thought that was really smart. And so I told Dr. Farah Laurent, we should do the same thing. So that's where that came from. And then she brought up emotional intelligence, which I thought was super smart. That's a great strategy to overcoming loneliness. And I learned so much from the guest, Dr. Daniel Goleman, who's a psychologist and author. He didn't come up with the term, but he made it so popular because he wrote about it so much and spoke about it. He considers himself a scientific journalist, I want to say. He used to work for the New York Times and he would write about it all the time. So anyway, just from the little bit that I learned in preparing for that episode with Farah, I'm really intrigued. Not only can it be great for entrepreneurship and leadership, but your own personal life. And like I said, that's something we'll delve into this year, talking about how to manage relationships before you get into a health professional academic program, while you're in there, and then out as a practicing clinician, right? It's like that elephant in the room. Like, we all want to be these clinicians, all these business owners, but we still have like other life happening in the background. And how do you manage that? Because it's demanding on you as the person doing it. So you can only imagine that how it's affecting your loved ones. And so I want to be really transparent about how to be successful in that. And so I'm going to be reading more about emotional intelligence and sharing that with you too in the upcoming months. That class, I still have, I don't think I told you guys what class I was taking yet. But I'm waiting for some friends of mine, because we might be doing a study group instead of the virtual grand rounds. I think we're going to do DERM study hall. So all of us who are taking all these programs can study and help each other with retention and being accountable. So stay tuned for that. So those are the front updates. Before we talk about AI and DERM, let's do our devotional. So I'll be coming from the Holy Bible app. It's a free app. There might be some paid options, but I use the free one. I try to tell you all about the free things. And so every day on the homepage, they'll give you like the scripture of the day. And then on the next, so it's like kind of like a three-parter. So the first part will be the scripture of the day. And then there's a person comes on, they do a video, and they say the scripture of the day, and then they'll do like a little bit of a story with it. And then after that is a devotional, and then the scripture of the day. So we're going to do that today. So the devotional is titled Even There. So, and that's because and it includes the scripture for today as well. So David, who was Israel's king around 1000 BC, is the contemplative soul who wrote our verse for today. Even there your hand shall lead me, and your right hand shall hold me. Psalms 139, verse 10. Note, anytime a verse seems to start mid-sentence, it's wise to investigate the broader context of the story. In this case, David is exploring the mind-blowing fact that he can never escape God's presence. David realizes that it doesn't matter if he's sitting down or standing up, traveling abroad or resting at home, up in heaven or down in the grave, speaking his mind or keeping his thoughts to himself, or even if he somehow ends up next to the most remote ocean on earth. It's then that David continues, even there your hand shall lead me, and your right hand shall hold me. Even there, even here, even everywhere, God is always present to lead and guide, to strengthen and support. Even if we try to avoid God or run from his calling on our life, he's patient to pursue us, to correct us, to direct us. One thing is certain, he will never leave us. So when you're scrubbing dishes, scrolling on your phone, or sorting through a difficult decision, when you're hard at work, lazy at home, or soaking up time with people you love, when you're heartbroken, when you're joyful, when you're doubtful, when you're hopeful, even when you've made a horrible decision, even there your hand shall lead me, and your right hand shall hold me. Wherever you find yourself today, know that you're not alone, you're not stuck, you're not without someone who cares and who's able to save. Thank God there's no escaping his presence. Isn't that beautiful? Especially when we just talked about loneliness. That whole devotional just makes me feel so comforted and assured that no matter where I am, no matter what I'm going through, I'm not alone. And so there's a prayer that comes right after that. God, thank you for always being there. I can't run away or do anything to escape your presence. Your love is light, your strength is supportive, and your guidance is good. Even when I mess up again, you remain the same. Thank you, Jesus. Amen. I see you watching. You should say amen in the comments. And so, yeah, that's our scripture and our devotional for today. So, yeah, let's get into our topic. So, it's AI and dermatology. As I'm filming this week, I dropped a new article on the Mahogany Dermatology blog. So, a good friend of mine, Dr. Yvette Conyer, she's been on the Melanin Initiative. Her background, she's an NP, doctorally prepared with her DMP, entrepreneur in the foot care space. She taught me a lot about foot care, wounds, and academia, DMPs of color, diversity, microaggressions. She's really a lot of credentials and accomplishments. But she came on LinkedIn and she shared that she went to ChatGPT and asked it who she was, which I encourage you to do. This is all about owning your digital footprint, which I have told you over and over again how important that is. So I not one to be left out, I went and did the same thing. So on one of the blog that dropped this Monday, I share my results with you and I tell you about different ways you can use ChatGPT as a nurse practitioner. That link is in the description box. And so why is it so important that you do this? Because AI is everywhere. AI is like the internet. You can say, or even like smartphones. I remember when smartphones came around, I used to have a flip phone for the longest time. And I didn't think I needed those many options in my hand because all I used the phone was for to make calls. But the guy I was dating at the time, he was really into texting. And yeah, I crossed over and I never went back. And so AI is the same way. It's everywhere. And the platform's so huge. This is kind of a tip as an entrepreneur, right? You can think you have to go out there and create everything yourself, or you can recognize like value and say, hey, it's not worth it for us in the long run, in the immediate sense, in terms of financing, time, resources, to create something when there's already something really great and everybody knows about it, right? Because now that's another thing you would have to do is convince people why this is so valuable, teach them how it works. Look, if they've already figured it out, just adopt that, right? So purchase the licensing, whatever the legal requirements are. And so companies are just having it integrated into platforms that already exist. I use Google. And so even with email, it's everywhere, literally. In Notions, Google, I'm trying to think, Adobe, all the things I tell you about, it's all there. And so you have to know how to use it. And even if you don't know, say you don't want to be like, you don't want to know a lot about it, but you need to know enough about it. One, so that you can teach yourself, your family, your patients how to identify accurate information and still where they should seek credible information. I think that's the most important, but not only where they should seek it, how you can be part of that credible information. And so in this article, not only do I share my results from ChatGPT and how you can use it, today we're going to talk about how it can help you get your first job in dermatology. I also talked to you about DERM AI. So I introduced, for some of you, the first time on social media this week, Timothy August. He's a physician associate. He's the CEO and founder of dermatoscopes.com and DERM AI. He created DERM AI. So when you go to that website, I need to put that in the description box too, by the way. Let me put these here because I always forget. Well, actually, you know what? I already linked the article for you. I still have to work on my thumbnails. So usually I'll do captions, the thumbnail, the title, all that stuff before I film, but I have a meeting and I'm trying to do 3 videos before that meeting. So I'm going to do things a little bit backwards today. But at least then you can kind of see the creation of it a little bit if you're following before I make everything private again. So yeah, in there, Dermatology AI, if you go there, you get there's two options. You can go for on there for free, and you get 5 uses, or you can log in, you get 100. And so, and he said, for now, he hasn't seen anyone need it more than 100 times, but if the demand increases, then they'll consider some other ways that they could be of service to us. And I think that's a great problem to have. And so, what I wanted to try with you all, and so one thing about, so with AI, it's basically like Google. A lot of people are using AI instead of Google these days. And I think that's going to continue. So with the way AI works is we feed it data, right? So let's say I have a textbook, a nursing textbook. We feed it all this information. Someone's feeding it information and then tagging it and saying, let's say, for instance, a great one is a nurse practitioner. So let's say, they're a white male coder. They put 100 images up there, nurse practitioner, right? Some of them are female, some of them are blonde, whatever. Because in their head, that's what a nurse practitioner looks like. So when I go hit nurse practitioner, I see all these images of white women. Well, I might be looking for a Black woman. So then I have to go back into Google and be very specific about what it is I'm looking for, because whoever coded this information, they've coded it based on their own experiences and biases. So when we talk about AI, there's a lot of things to understand. One, how it works, how does the information get in there, who's putting information in there, and why are they putting it in there that way. So a lot of the research in AI talks about biases and implicit biases. So if I'm a person, even though AI is technology, it's created by people, and people inherently have their own biases. Even if you say water is good for you, and I go and put that in the coding system, someone else could say, well, water is bad for you, right? This is, for example. So my biases on that water is good for you, let's say cold water is good for you, I'm going to put that in here. So every time someone searches something, Googles something, my bias about cold water is going to be built into the system. And a lot of times when people are reporting data, they're not being transparent about where they got the data, how they got the data. And it's particularly when you start talking about patient information and HIPAA, sometimes you can't be transparent about that data. And then sometimes you can't even access that data and put it on ChatGPT because there's no protections for that data. So that's where a lot of the research is. And how do we increase the accuracy of medical and science information when you have to be protect that information at the same time? That's something I want to get into. I recently heard someone talking about that. And so while we might not be able to put in patient information, because once you put it into ChatGPT, there's no protection. Anyone can now look that up, right? If you put your social security number in there, someone can now look that up. So that's a concern some companies have. But perhaps if we do medical textbooks, that was a recommendation, then we could get some better quality information in there that we don't have to worry about patient information. So there are some different theories on that. So I'm eager to get into the literature and find out what are some strategies we can do and how nurses and nurse practitioners can be part of that. So Dermatology AI. So with ChatGPT, so with Google, that's how it is, right? With ChatGPT, it's still the same. Now we have so many users. So every time, like for instance, when I told you guys about the AI, try it on AI, where you can go upload like 30 pictures of yourself. It has to be a selfie, shoulders up, nothing in the background. It has to look different every time. For $20, at least the last time I did it was $20. They'll give you like 50 pictures or something. Now, all the pictures aren't great because they're using images that are familiar, that's been fed into the system. So for instance, if all the people who have put their pictures in have been, let's say, white women, and then I go put my picture in it, I'm going to get features that are more European. And that was kind of the case. And so I still encourage people to use it because the more we feed it similar data or diverse data even, we get better outcomes. And it's the same. So it's the same with pictures, and it's the same with data, like, qualitative and quantitative data. So with ChatGPT, for instance, its access to information is the whole internet. Whereas with Dermatology AI, it's very specific to dermatology. And so some of the questions you would go on and ask Dermatology AI, it wouldn't be like, hey, who is Kimberly Madison? It's not going to know, but it is going to know what's the best ICD code for freezing off a wart. And so I want to try this out with you guys. I saw this live feature has a share. And so I thought, what's a better time to use it than with you all? And so I tried pulling everything up, and I just want to make sure it says, here, hold on, let me fix this because I thought I had it up, but I can't see it on here. The tab. Oh, there it is. Okay. And audio. Oh. So we'll have to see. Actually, we don't have to wait. I'm going to pull this up. So if you didn't know, when because I'm learning about as I learn about social media, I share it with you all. Hey, there she is. And so sometimes I will, try things out while I'm talking to you all as a, what's the best way to learn it is to tell you I'm doing it. So hopefully you can see on this. So actually I'm pulling myself up. I want to turn down the volume on that. I can't see anything right now. I wonder if you guys can't see anything either. Well, hopefully you can see this. Anyway, so hopefully you can see. As you can see, it looks just like the Chat GPT screen. You see Derm Biller AI. It tells you, how can I help you with this? And then it gives you some examples. So you can see what codes are used when freezing multiple SKs, what ICD code could be used for malignant melanoma on the right ear, when should the negative 25 modifier be used? Like, how specific is that? I think it's awesome. What I don't like is that I can't see myself on here. And so I wonder if you all can even see me now that I have this up. Let's see. Oh, you can. Ah, okay, there we go. That's awesome. Thank you for your patience. I just wanted to try that out. Okay, so yeah. So you can see here, and then yeah, so let's try it out. So it says what codes, and actually I wonder if I can just copy this. Oh yeah, great. Even better. So yeah, and I mean, literally, you can look up anything, and I'm going to give you some examples today, particularly when it comes to trying to get your first job in dermatology. But I wonder why. I wish I could see it on my phone. On my phone, I just see a black screen. So I wonder if that's what you see. We'll have to find out when this video airs what you can actually see. I wonder why that is. Okay, so here, when freezing multiple SKs, the appropriate CPT codes to use are right there. And how perfect is that? And so, like I said, when you sign up with your email, it's free. You get 100 opportunities to use this. And I just think it's amazing. And so the other thing, I'm going to sharing now. The other thing that I talked about on the blog is DERM Engine. Oh, you know what? I didn't even bring up DERM Engine. And this one's really cool. And so we're actually going to talk about DERM Engine in more detail soon because I have a demo set up this week. Jade, my intern for the How You Tell Derm Nurse internship, is going to join me on that meeting, and we're going to learn so much more about it. But there's several features on here that you can do, including, you guys want to see? Let me show you too, since we're sharing. But it's great. You can do total body photography mapping, evolution of lesions. It integrates with MolScope, which is it allows you to do mobile dermoscopy. It's great if you have your own practice. It's HIPAA compliant. You can do, there's a free patient portal. So yeah, so this is the home page, right? Really well done. I'm gonna stop it just in case you can't hear them playing. It is playing, but I don't know if you can see that. Actually, you know what? Let me play this. Thank you for your patience. This is how I learned. You can't.
The MolScope app and Dermoscope, and interfaces with any imaging next level with DERM Engine, the world's most advanced system for skin imaging and analytics. DERM Engine is the first web-based solution for all of your dermatology imaging needs. Secure, efficient, and affordable, DERM Engine is accessible anytime, anywhere on iOS, Android, the web, and Apple TV. The medical imaging platform is designed to work seamlessly with the Molescope app and Dermoscope and interfaces with any imaging device to improve your clinical workflow. With DERM Engine, dermatology meets the digital age. Powered by years of research, the software helps dermatologists and skincare providers maximize their dermoscopy and non-invasive imaging techniques to diagnose and treat all diseases of the skin, scalp, and nails. DERM Engine's specialized full-body imaging feature is the most advanced, affordable, and accessible solution for automatic lesion detection, mapping, and matching. DERM Engine engages the power of interconnectivity in medicine. The system helps you manage patient communication, connect with a customized network of specialists, and invite colleagues to your network to securely share information and extend your medical practice online. The platform's one-click reporting feature simplifies billing and report creation. With no complicated setup or maintenance, DERM Engine optimizes your clinic and allows you to focus on the most important part of your job, your patients. By harnessing the capabilities of teledermatology, the power of the latest imaging software, and resources for effective clinical communication, DERM Engine is streamlining the identification and management of dermatology cases and improving access to healthcare worldwide.
Okay. So, and I don't know Tim's affiliation with that, Timothy, because he just, I know he created Derm Biller AI, but he was just kind enough to share with me Derm Engine. So I don't know if what his affiliation is with that. But how cool was that? So in addition, I want to show you I want to make sure you can see. Make sure I'm on the right tab here. Okay, great. So then let's get some of the other features they have. Blah, blah, blah. So yeah, here's the total body photography, clinical analysis. Yeah, they'll give you, if you have your own practice, they'll give you both clinical analytics as well as business analytics to help you run your business more efficiently, which I think is phenomenal. I've told you, you can't do all the things. You can't see the patients, grow the business, run the business, and manage finances. And so this is phenomenal. Has teledermatology features. I won't play all these videos for you, but you can see it can integrate with your EHR, give you branded content. We love that, and options if you have a really large business. Booking appointments. Look at this. This is wonderful. Store and forward imaging. Oh, I might need this. A home dermoscopy kit. Oh yeah, this is great because patients can take their pictures themselves too. Provides high-risk patients with their very own dermatoscope or dermoscope to capture and submit high-quality dermoscopic images directly to Derm Engine for your review. I might have to evaluate this one for my own use. The free patient app, and then onboarding, which you really don't want to be responsible for that. Yeah, how's that? Okay, and then aesthetics. I know y'all. Oh, the visual search. That's Derm, right? Very visual specialty. So look, yeah, you can look at images. Really, these are some really great quality images, I have to say. Yeah, look at that. But let's see what they have for aesthetics. There's no volume on this one. It's just showing you what it can do. Oh, look at that. If you're listening and maybe you're doing the dishes, we're looking at the image of a face, and the provider is documenting where they're placing injectables on the face, very, very specifically too, by the way. And so you can document that on your procedures, including injection type, placement, and amount. You can capture before and after images, monitor changes, and it gives you an automatic summary creation at the end for easy reporting. Of course, you can see you have tools for drawing on and annotation. There's your before and after pictures, which is wonderful, wonderful. let's see here. I don't know what happened to I hope you guys can even see that. Oh yeah, you can see. But what happened is now I can't see. I can't move across the page anymore. Okay, here we go. And so, So yeah, so I think that's about it for that. So you can see it has everything really for practice management. So when you're interested in starting your own business, even if you're not interested in starting your business, maybe you just want to bring this option to whoever you do work for. Some of the things we talk about in terms of business doesn't mean you have to be the one owning the business. It can make your day much better too, just by having it available to you all. And so you're that much more valuable to the team when you're able to provide this information. You don't have to be an expert. Sometimes it's simply just saying, hey, look, this thing exists. These are the options that are available. And if you're interested, they can set up a demo. That saves someone so much time on having to Google their life away. You've already answered those upfront questions that people have. And then, yeah, anyone in the office can set up the demo and then you just show up. Like, that's super important. So let's talk about how you can use it in addition to, in practice, how you can use it to get your first job. So one of the most obvious ones is you can use it for your resume and CV. So, my recommendation is CV because you can be much more clear about all the things you've done and highlight that. I was listening to someone, she's a clinical nurse specialist, and she was giving an explanation on the two different ones. And she really liked the resume for like a job so that you can highlight, to kind of just get to the point, right, for a role. I don't know. I guess it depends on the hiring person, what they're asking for, and then be specific, because sometimes people use resume and CV interchangeably. But if the place and you should have two available, and it should always be updated. Just ask them which one they want. I like the CV because you can really be more detailed about all the things you've done, in which you're trying to really highlight. If you're taking the time to do all these things to make yourself more competitive for that job, you want to be able to show it. Whereas with the resume, it's all about being concise. And if you can get it done and be concise, then yeah, do that. So whatever one you have, if you already have a CV or a resume, you can upload that into ChatGPT. And remember, once you put it on there, it's there. And so if kind of all our information is already on the internet. But if you put your address and your phone number and sensitive information, then you're putting it on the internet, making it that much easier. So be mindful of that. But you can upload it and say, hey, help me. And it has a feature for files. So you can upload the file, you can copy paste and upload it. When things get really long, AI has a little bit of trouble with that. And so you can tell it, hey, I'm going to feed you information incrementally, and you can give it back to me incrementally, so you don't get overwhelmed. Literally, I tell AI, so you don't get overwhelmed. And then I'll say, do you understand? And it says yes, and then we start moving forward. And then it'll give me some information, and it will say, let me know when you're ready. Otherwise, if you just put like, say, 10 pages up there, it will just keep spinning, or it won't do anything. And so that's a little tip on how to have it process a lot of information. So whatever one you have, let's say you have your resume already, because that's what most people are used to having. And then you upload it there and you say, hey, turn this into my CV. It will give you back your CV, and then you just read through it, make sure it's accurate. You'll probably have to make a few edits, but that's one thing you can get prepared for your first job. And then you can ask it, say, hey, look, you are my career coach. You are the HR hiring manager. Tell me your advice on how to make this resume or CV more competitive. This is the job I'm applying for. These are the requirements. You can upload those requirements. You can put the link to if it's posted online and there's a link to the job description, you can say, hey, can you read this job description at this link? Yes. Okay, take this information. This is the job I'm applying for. Help me craft my resume so that it's, and here's my resume. Show me how I can highlight the key qualities that the hiring manager, you're my DERM hiring manager, my DERM recruiter. Let me know how to make myself look more competitive. And if you already have a resume, but you want to turn it into a CV, you say, here's my resume, turn this into a CV. Then take it off there, put it into Word or PDF, and then just tweak it to make sure it's accurate. And then go put back in your address and phone number and all that personal information. So those are the first thing. If they're asking for a cover letter, ChatGPT can help you with that. You have to feed it all the information. So you say, this is what I want to include in the cover letter. Make sure you highlight this, make it sound engaging, professional, whatever feelings you want to invoke. And then it can help you do that. You can say, hey, I have this interview coming up for this dermatology nurse practitioner job. It's my first job. Can you go through some practice interview questions with me? And then it can do that with you. And it can certainly ask you the questions. And then you can say, hey, and also give me some really great answers that I can, potentially use during my upcoming interview. You can also ask it to give you some negotiation tips on how to, I see so many people in the Facebook groups asking how to calculate productivity-based pay, all those things. You can come to ChatGPT because people have written about how to do that. So it has access to that information because it's on the internet. And you can ask it for some negotiation tips based on the information you've been given from the hiring person. And then, of course, always how to stand out and be more competitive. So that's how you can use ChatGPT to get your first job in dermatology. And then you can go back and revisit it when it's time for your contract to be renewed. And when you're doing this up front, you can say, hey, my derm recruiter, you're going to tell ChatGPT, you're my derm recruiter. Tell me this is my upfront ask. And then tell me, when should I ask for in writing to revisit the details of my contract, and then have whatever it says, say, oh, do this again in 6 months. And within the next 6 months, what should I be focusing on so that when we come back in 6 months, I can make sure I've hit those goals and that whatever I'm asking for, that I have proven that I have earned it. And so ChatGPT can help you in that regard too, whether it's 6 months from now or 12 months from now. And it'll just show that you're better prepared to have that conversation. You'll be more confident. And who knows, you might bring up some things that person didn't even think about. And when they see you're thinking like that, that means you're taking it away from them to have to think like that. Remember that anything you can do to help someone else's life be easier. That's what Shaq said when he's picking out business opportunities. He's like, I pick the things that make people's lives easier. And I've heard that time and time again from other people in different iterations. And so I keep that in mind too, right? Is what I'm doing going to make somebody's life easier? Certainly there's some fun things that probably have nothing to do with making people's lives easier. But once you figure out this one thing, the accessories just help people stay engaged and feel like, they're part of the community. So we've already, that's going to close out our episode actually. I do want to invite you over to the Mahogany and let me know in the comments how you use ChatGPT. Timothy was really kind enough to have this conversation with me on LinkedIn. He was asking to find out from our peers how they're using it. And so that's when I kind of told him what my DNP student was doing. And then after I told him what his project was about, he shared Derm Engine with me. And so I know he's looking to learn more, and I am too. So certainly share with us how you're using it so we can all benefit from that. So this week on the Mahogany Dermatology blog, I dropped that article, and then during the middle of the week, I dropped the one on ChatGPT, and then in the middle of the week, I dropped the one. Oh no, on Monday I dropped provider-centered practice, which I've talked to you so many times about, which is all about like how to do this successfully, right? And keep your health and sanity intact. And so that article is up there, and it's just an argument on, so much of our education is focused on patient-centered care. And I realized as a provider, no one was talking to me about how to take care of myself, how to sustain in this business. And so an argument I have is to start thinking about provider-centered practice and what that could look like and how the patient can still benefit. And so 2 articles this week. At the beginning of the month, I dropped 17 dermatology fellowship and training programs for dermatology NPs. Really happy about that article. I invite you to check that out. And it's not an all-inclusive list by any means, but it does have a lot of options. Some are in the hospital, academia, requiring full-time attendance. Others, maybe 2 or 3 times you might have to visit during the course of that program. Some are all online, independent. Some are online, and it has synchronous options where you get online, like the Achieve program, live in person with the dermatology faculty, and then the NPPA mentors. And then the price points vary drastically, and some of the programs will give you a stipend. It's a low stipend, but you do get paid. And then some of them you have to pay, of course, to be a part of it. So you'll find a lot of options in there. And then at the beginning of the month, we introduced Jade, who is the 2025 Mahogany Derm Nurse Intern. She's going to be making her debut on the blog on February 3rd, the first Monday in February. So excited to introduce you to her, so you can take a look at her writing and hear about her journey and her dreams, her derm dreams. And then I shared my Ministry of Medicine. I need to do a whole episode on that. So stay tuned for that. But it's still unfolding in a lot of ways. And so as it does, I'll share that with you. And then what else do we have? I want to thank the Dermatology Nurses Association. I submitted one of my articles recently on the importance of skin of color training when it comes to aesthetics and the LGBTQ plus population for dermatology nurse practitioners. That was an article that I posted on the blog a while back, and I submitted it for the Dermatology Nurses Association's Focus members newsletter, and it was accepted for the fourth quarter. That link is in the description box. I invite you to submit to the newsletter, to the journal, to my blog, anywhere. Just get your name out there. That's another way to make yourself more competitive. I always say so many times when you apply for that first job, you're going to be speaking patient, and all your experience is going to be patient care. So is everyone else. What are you going to do that's going to make you stand out, right? You're going to be talking patient. They're going to be talking business. Can you talk business too? That will help you stand out. That will show them that you bring a little bit more to the table. And including maybe if you're very familiar with AI and you can talk about how you can help them be more efficient, be more on social media. Because the thing, I watched this webinar by Canva this week, and they were just talking about how all these businesses, big businesses, are using AI for onboarding, for meeting. I mean, I use it for everything. If you can think it, you can do it on Canva. What I want to do is see if it can create a whole PowerPoint for me. Yeah, every company's using it. And one thing I thought was really interesting is, well, first of all, they have these things called prompt engineers, which are people who really excel at knowing how to put in the right information into AI and get really quality output. Like you can take for granted, like, oh, I know how to go in and ask it a question, but the response you get, the quality of that response is going to be dependent on how you formulate that question, what you know how to ask, and how to get AI to work in its best. And so one thing they said was, okay, so you have your novice user. The novice user typically will focus on, like, I guess, low-hanging fruit when it comes to problems and questions. Whereas and this is an argument for how AI can't replace humans. So the expert level person, they're going to be focused. They know how to kind of narrow in on those big problems and how to formulate that question. And so because of that experience that they're bringing, they get better quality outputs when they utilize AI. And so right now they were saying we don't really have any expert AI users yet. They jokingly said right now they're being paid $1 million at Google. But soon enough, those people will emerge and we'll be able to learn so much more about not only how AI is being adopted, but how we can utilize it. And so when you're applying, if that's something you can sell that business, that you're going to you can help them, integrate more AI services, like what we talked about today, Derm Biller, Derm Engine, how they can use it to onboard, how they can, help with training, documents, policies, employee handbooks, patient handouts, screening tools, you name it. If you can talk to them about how you can do that, that's going to help you stand out. That's going to make your negotiation argument even stronger. So those are some other ways you can use AI to your benefit. And if you're writing, whatever you write about, maybe you've written a few articles about AI. When you come to them, you can say, oh, look, I see you've published a few things on AI in practice management and academia, whatever the case, maybe in a specific diagnosis, in certain kind of drug classes, things like that, complications. Let's talk about that, right? So don't overlook publishing. So you can submit your articles anywhere. And if you want to tag along, have a co-author, help you with editing, gathering that data, we'd love to help you over at Mahogany Dermatology, Nursing Education and Research. So the D&B Derm Group, we're in the process of planning our spring mixer. I'm thinking it will be in March when I go home. I'll have to finalize that shortly so we can get those dates going and decide if it's going to be sponsored. And then DERM and P's and PAs of Atlanta. We have Allie down there at Emory. She's been so kind enough to come online and share her experience. She's in the dermatology NP externship that inspired that video I made about a month ago on how you can create your own. And so she's going to be giving you her advice on how to get your own and how to optimize your time while you're in clinic. So if you're not already following, this is a great opportunity to do that. Those links are in the description box. The Derm and P's and P's of Atlanta has a Facebook page, and she's running the Instagram page as well. And on the podcast, I told you about my conversation with Farah. I'm trying to think, is there anything over there you all would be interested in? I can't think of anything at the moment, but yeah, Farah was on there. We talked about loneliness and forgiveness. Tomorrow we continue with our Becoming a Midwife series. So what I think would benefit all of you who follow me that in terms of what we do over at the podcast is I have people just share their stories all the time to give you a point of reference. So many of you are just trying to kind of find your niche, find something that's fulfilling, and to be able to hear how other people came up with those decisions, how they navigated going back to school, working full time, getting married, starting a family, growing their family, moving, switching from clinic to academia, going through graduate school, being able to hear people's stories. I just think it's so insightful. It can save you a lot of time and money and stress. And if you can talk to someone, like you say, oh, I watched your video, do you mind chatting for 30 minutes? Man, it's just rich data that you're never going to get on Google. Google can give you a lot of information, social media, YouTube, all these resources, but nothing's like talking to someone, right? And not only will you be talking to them, maybe they can connect you with someone or something that can be beneficial to you in your decision making. So that's where I think you'll find a lot of insight over there, is all those stories of people just sharing their journey. And speaking of sharing your journey, I've been able to meet some of you. Some of you are students. Actually, I think most of you are students now that I think about it. Working on a DMP project. We have a meeting in about an hour on one of those projects. And just falling in love with DERM and already implementing some ideas I had about, going in person, whether you're trying to get shadowing, a preceptor, or even a job. You get to go in person, look really nice. Don't wear scrubs. I don't think I mentioned that before. Don't wear scrubs, but wear something that stands out. Don't wear Farah, she does career coaching. She says, don't wear blue, black, or gray. And when you do your CV, resume, all that stuff, use like Calibre and Arial font. She likes 11. Someone who wears glasses, I like 12. But those little details, you're only going to get that from people who are in this space every day. So you're going to look really nice. You're going to have a basket full of goodies. Healthy. I like the healthy goodies. And your CV resume right there. And then a handwritten note. Shout out to Alicia, all about handwritten things, notes. What it is you're looking for, what your name is, where you are in life in terms of, are you a student? Are you already experienced? You're just looking for shadowing, whatever you're looking for. And be specific with what you're looking for, the dates and the hours, and then how they can contact you. And that should be legible, okay? Very legible. And then tell me about your experience. I want to hear about it. So one of you already doing that. I told you to document that and every day make videos and talk to us about how you're going to drop off another basket and what you're learning from that experience. I said, when you let your personality shine, someone's going to see you. And they're going to like you just based on that. And that's part of your interview, if you believe it or not. So let's see. Anyone else? I think that's about it. So I want to thank you all for watching. We have, at the time that you're watching this, we're getting closer and closer to the Diversity in Dermatology Conference in Louisville, Kentucky, March 27th to the 30th. We'll be staying at the Marriott downtown in Louisville. We'll be there for 4 days. I've already done a whole video on the conference going through the details of the agenda for you. We do have group rates for the hotel. We'll be spending one evening at Churchill Downs, so you have to be all dressed up for the occasion. We'll be celebrating our Achieve program participants one of those nights. I've done a video on the Achieve program for you. It's one of the 17 dermatology fellowship and training programs that I've talked about on the blog. So yeah, just let me know if you have any questions. You've been great to let me know your questions, to hop on a video call with me, and to let me be part of your journey. And I'm so grateful. Shout out to Ebony Eyes for continuing to follow and comment. All your time is valuable, and I appreciate the time that you spend to leave those comments and to keep tuning in. I thank you all for watching. I'll see you next time.